Welcome, history buffs and curious minds. Today, we're exploring some of the most astonishing coincidences in history. Those moments where chance, luck, or fate seem to play a hand, setting off chain reactions that changed the world as we know it. These seemingly small events had profound impacts on wars, discoveries, and even entire civilizations. Let's dive into 10 unbelievable coincidences that shaped history and see how these moments reveal the power of the unexpected. Number 10. The Library of Alexandria's burning, a loss and a catalyst for knowledge preservation. The Library of Alexandria was once the largest repository of knowledge in the ancient world, housing texts, scientific studies, and philosophical works that represented the entirety of human understanding at the time. But one fateful day, the library caught fire, a disaster with causes still debated by historians. This devastating coincidence erased vast amounts of knowledge, pushing scholars and leaders to recognize how fragile human understanding was without preservation. With the loss of such invaluable resources, a renewed determination to protect and share knowledge emerged. The destruction of the library highlighted the critical need to safeguard knowledge from accidents, wars, and neglect. Its tragic end spurred efforts across the ancient world to establish similar libraries, education hubs, and systems for duplicating manuscripts. This push for preservation inspired other civilizations to take on the mantle of knowledge keepers, resulting in the eventual rise of renowned centers like the Baghdad House of Wisdom. Though the library's burning was a monumental loss, it served as a powerful catalyst that inspired a new age of preservation. This fateful event reminds us of the role of coincidence in history. It's often in our greatest losses that we find our strongest motivations. The fall of Alexandria's library echoes today as a cautionary tale and an inspiration for how we protect and prioritize knowledge. The message is clear. While accidents can destroy, they also encourage us to build better systems for future generations, making the Library of Alexandria a poignant example of how coincidence can reshape history. Number 9. The assassination that sparked World War I. One of history's most well-known coincidences occurred in 1914 when Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated, setting off World War I. The story goes that the Archduke's driver took a wrong turn on a Sarajevo street, inadvertently stopping in front of Gavrilo Princip, a member of the Black Hand who intended to kill him. Princip seized the opportunity, leading to an event that snowballed into one of the deadliest conflicts in history. It's almost chilling to think that if the driver hadn't taken that wrong turn, the Archduke might have survived, and history might have followed a different path. The consequences of this assassination were catastrophic, as alliances formed, armies mobilized, and Europe plunged into a 4-year war that claimed millions of lives. The random chance of a wrong turn exemplifies how small acts can trigger significant global shifts. World War I changed national borders, toppled empires, and created a ripple effect that eventually led to World War II. What seemed like a minor directional error was, in hindsight, one of the most influential coincidences in shaping the modern world. This fateful day demonstrates how coincidences don't merely alter personal lives, they can alter the destinies of entire nations. Had that wrong turn not occurred, the course of the 20th century would likely look vastly different. The assassination that sparked World War I is a reminder that history isn't always in our control, and sometimes the most unpredictable moments have the most profound consequences. Number 8. A painting that saved Hitler's life. In one of the most haunting twists of fate, a young Adolf Hitler narrowly escaped death in World War I when British soldier Henry Tandy chose not to shoot a wounded and unarmed enemy. Unbeknownst to Tandy, that soldier was Hitler, who would later rise to power and plunge the world into World War II. This chance encounter is both chilling and thought-provoking. A single decision by a soldier on a battlefield changed the course of history, allowing Hitler to survive and ultimately lead Nazi Germany. The ramifications of this encounter are staggering, as Hitler's survival enabled his political ascent and the atrocities that followed. Tandy's decision, rooted in mercy, allowed Hitler to survive and set the stage for one of history's darkest periods. While we cannot know what Hitler might have done if spared from the horrors of World War I, this brief moment on the battlefield allowed a notorious figure to live, ultimately leading to global conflict, tragedy, and the Holocaust. This story shows the unpredictable weight of coincidence and mercy in shaping history. Tandy's act of compassion had unintended consequences on a massive scale, serving as a powerful reminder that even acts of kindness can lead to unforeseen outcomes. The random chance of sparing one life influenced the lives of millions, a haunting example of how one small decision can reverberate across time. Number 7. The Titanic's unheeded warnings. The sinking of the Titanic in 1912 is one of the most tragic maritime disasters in history, and eerie coincidences surrounded it. Just a few years prior, author Morgan Robertson published a novel titled Futility, which described an unsinkable ship, the Titan, that met its end after colliding with an iceberg. Even more strangely, the Titanic received several iceberg warnings from nearby ships during its voyage. But these messages were downplayed or ignored, with the ship continuing at high speed through dangerous waters. The eerie similarity between the Titan and the Titanic seems almost prophetic, as if fate was sending a warning. Yet the actual iceberg warnings received by the Titanic were similarly disregarded, leading to catastrophic consequences. This chilling string of events led to sweeping changes in maritime safety regulations, including mandatory lifeboats, 24-hour radio monitoring, and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol to track icebergs, a legacy that has undoubtedly saved countless lives. The Titanic's sinking is a testament to how coincidental events can reveal our vulnerability, teaching us lessons through tragedy. The chain of coincidences surrounding the Titanic's voyage reminds us of the fragility of human ambition and the price of ignoring warnings. These events ultimately led to reforms that transformed maritime travel, demonstrating how even the most tragic coincidences can drive positive change. Number 6. Einstein's patent office job and the theory of relativity. When Albert Einstein graduated from college, he struggled to find a job in academia. Instead, he ended up working at a Swiss patent office, where he reviewed and approved patents, giving him the stability and mental freedom to ponder his groundbreaking ideas. While this was hardly the career Einstein had envisioned, this day job gave him the time and flexibility to develop his theories on relativity, reshaping our understanding of physics. The coincidence of Einstein's career setback led to one of the most significant breakthroughs in science. Without the pressures of academia, Einstein was free to think beyond traditional boundaries, which allowed him to question fundamental assumptions about time, space, and light. His work at the patent office led directly to his development of the theory of relativity, a discovery that would revolutionize physics, influence technological innovation, and impact our understanding of the universe. Einstein's story reminds us that coincidences, even setbacks, can be a pathway to greatness. Sometimes the unexpected gives us exactly what we need to make breakthroughs. This chance job allowed Einstein the room to think big, proving that life's random turns can yield remarkable results when combined with curiosity and creativity. His story underscores the transformative potential of seemingly minor coincidences on the grand stage of history. Number 5. The Eureka moment that inspired antibiotics. In 1928, Alexander Fleming made one of the most accidental yet life-changing discoveries in medical history. After returning from vacation, Fleming noticed that a petri dish containing Staphylococcus bacteria had been contaminated by mold, which killed the bacteria surrounding it. This chance observation led to the development of penicillin, the first antibiotic, which revolutionized medicine and has saved millions of lives since. If not for this fortunate accident, The medical world might have waited years, if not decades, before discovering antibiotics. Fleming's discovery marked the beginning of the modern antibiotic age, enabling treatments for infections that were once fatal. His seemingly minor oversight paved the way for further advancements in medicine, transforming healthcare as we know it. Fleming's story shows how coincidences can have monumental impacts on human life. This accident is a reminder that sometimes the answers we seek come not through deliberate effort, but through the willingness to notice and explore the unexpected. Fleming's chance discovery of penicillin revolutionized healthcare and extended life expectancy, a powerful example of how fate and curiosity can combine to change history. Number 4. A diplomatic coincidence saved the Cuban Missile Crisis. During the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, the world was on the brink of nuclear war. In a remarkable coincidence, U.S. officials received 2 messages from Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, one aggressive and demanding, the other more conciliatory. U.S. Secretary of State Dean Rusk and his team chose to respond to the peaceful message, diffusing one of the tensest moments in history and averting nuclear catastrophe. This diplomatic fork in the road shaped the future of U.S.-Soviet relations and kept the world from descending into chaos. It's incredible to think that had the officials chosen to respond to the more hostile message, the outcome could have been devastating. The decision to reply to the peaceful note helped establish backchannels that would later prove instrumental in Cold War diplomacy. The Cuban Missile Crisis highlights the significance of chance in global politics. A mere coincidence in communication created an opportunity for peace, underscoring the delicate balance between conflict and diplomacy. This incident serves as a reminder of how random moments can avert disaster, keeping humanity on a fragile but hopeful path. Number 3. The wrong plane that escaped 9/11s. On September 11, 2001, Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy, was scheduled to be on American Airlines Flight 11, the first plane to crash into the World Trade Center. Due to a scheduling mix-up, MacFarlane arrived at the airport minutes too late, narrowly missing the flight. Another famous near miss that day involved actor Mark Wahlberg, who also changed his travel plans last minute. This coincidence of wrong timing saved their lives, an experience MacFarlane later described as surreal and life-altering. This twist of fate highlights the impact of timing on our lives. For the few individuals who missed those doomed flights, the close encounter with death brought profound personal transformations. MacFarlane, in particular, has shared how this experience intensified his focus on living with purpose. His story, and those of others who narrowly escaped, serve as reminders of how seemingly minor delays or decisions can have life-altering outcomes. These coincidences underscore the idea that we never truly know what fate has in store for us. For many people, this event illustrates the sheer unpredictability of life and how small delays can separate life from death. It's a powerful reminder of how chance plays a role in shaping individual lives and how the world can change drastically due to something as simple as a missed alarm or a changed schedule. Number 2. An apple that revolutionized science. Isaac Newton. The story of Isaac Newton's inspiration to formulate the theory of gravity is legendary. According to popular lore, Newton was sitting under an apple tree when an apple fell to the ground, prompting him to wonder why objects fall down instead of floating away. This falling apple moment supposedly led Newton to develop his groundbreaking theories on gravity and motion, which would go on to reshape our understanding of the physical universe. While the apple story is partly myth, it's grounded in the real concept of observation sparking insight. Newton's curiosity about something as simple as a falling apple pushed him to ask fundamental questions about how the world works. His theories on gravity and motion provided the foundation for classical physics, influencing everything from the Industrial Revolution to space exploration. The coincidence of that apple's fall became the trigger for one of history's most significant scientific breakthroughs. This story speaks to the importance of everyday coincidences and curiosity in shaping history. Newton's experience reminds us that sometimes the answers to our biggest questions are hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to ask the right question. Newton's falling apple moment stands as one of the most iconic examples of how a seemingly ordinary event can lead to an extraordinary leap in human knowledge. Number 1. The handshake that ended the Cold War. In 1985, during the height of the Cold War, US President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev met at the Geneva Summit. What started as a formal diplomatic meeting took an unexpected turn when the two leaders shared an unscripted, warm handshake. This gesture broke the ice and set a tone of cooperation that laid the foundation for future peace agreements. That handshake became a symbol of hope, trust, and the end of an era of animosity between the two superpowers. That handshake was more than a casual greeting. It was a moment of human connection that transcended politics. Both leaders, facing immense political pressure from their respective countries, chose to pursue a path of diplomacy. The symbolic handshake eased tensions and opened the door to negotiations, eventually leading to agreements that reduced nuclear arms. This single moment of warmth marked a turning point in Cold War relations and was instrumental in paving the way for the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The Reagan-Gorbachev handshake exemplifies how coincidences can alter the course of history. A simple handshake between two men changed the lives of millions, proving that sometimes it's the smallest gestures that leave the most lasting impact. It's a powerful reminder that, even in politics, moments of chance and humanity can shape the world in profound and unexpected ways. And there you have it. 10 random coincidences that, against all odds, shaped the world as we know it. From mistaken schedules to symbolic gestures, these stories remind us of the unpredictability of life and how small events can set the stage for monumental changes. If you enjoyed these historical twists of fate, make sure to subscribe for more fascinating stories from the past. Until next time, stay curious and let's keep exploring the history that shapes our world.